Hi, people. This is Angie, angelascashes.org. And I've made contact with a survivor and a researcher. I would say a survivor. I'm not even gonna cover the whole thing, but I definitely recognize some MK Ultra. Um, but this is somebody with whom I had a Holy Spirit connection, I'd call it, where you instantly know, okay, I need to talk to that person. And that's not to favor. I get many dozens, if not hundreds, of survivors contacting me. And it's not to say this one fits and that one doesn't, but it's just the Holy Spirit sometimes gives you a prompt and says, talk to this person. So this is just part one. And I'm going to introduce Sue. And she's off camera for now. She probably will go on camera as we progress. But I'm just going to invite her at this stage to introduce herself and give a little bit of her backstory. So go for it, Sue.
Hi guys. Hi. Thanks, Angie. Thanks for having me on. This is an amazing opportunity for me. My name is Sue. I'm a professional singer. I live in Lincolnshire in England, and I am a strong Christian. You'd probably say it as a strong Christian. Although I'm not actually attached to or affiliated to any church at the moment. I've been avidly researching since my baptism in 2003, um, the Bible and specifically the book of Revelation. And hopefully, as we go on, I can explain some of my theories and back it up with some scripture. But my journey started out as a child riding horses in a backwater area. And I first had my encounter with Christ at 7 when I had a serious injury. And it just was this presence was in front of me. I was so scared as a child, and this white presence in front of me, and then it vanished. But I just felt like I could get through anything, and it was a real serious injury. I had injured my hip, and I had to have pins in it because I fell off a horse, and that was that. The horses sort of got put to one side as you grow up and you have a family. I went through a complete rebellious phase between the ages of 17 and 20, where I believe I probably had an encounter with the devil. I was doing quite occult practices, and I don't think I'd renounced Jesus. I got so intrigued by this side of this world, and I look back now as to where I stand as a 53-year-old Christian. The knowledge that I learned about the occult back then was invaluable to learning about the Antichrist system and the 13 bloodlines and the connection back to the beginning, and that would be the Garden of Eden. So we're looking at Satan coming down with his 13 bloodlines and breeding with humans. We've got the Nephilim story attached to that, and obviously this is where my research has led me. Um, I went for a job for a New Life Church position, which was an assistance position. I've been going to New Life Church at this point for about 4 or 5 years, and just as a pew sitter, not been involved in the music side. I was going out singing, around the areas on the East Coast, so Skegness down to Great Yarmouth. I was a professional singer, totally enjoying my job, totally enjoying my life. Didn't even was not giving Christ or God a second thought at this point, but yet we're still going to church on Sunday. But something didn't feel right. But I didn't get this job, and I was mad. I was furious because in my mind, I needed that job. I was a single mum with 2 kids and needed that job to pay my way. As singing, I was building it up. It wasn't making a lot of money at that point. So, and I went to see a friend and I was having a bit of a rant. And I didn't even notice that there was a vicar sat right next to him. And this vicar turns out was pastor. He had the same encounter you had, Angie, and basically said, "I need to speak to this girl." The spirit prompted him, and I've got to talk to this girl. And I didn't know none of this. I'm just ranting that I didn't get the job, and what am I going to do? I was in my probably late 20s at this point, and I spoke to this pastor and started working at the Cottage Beck Cafe Church and started building the church groups. And I got a chance to go on holiday with them. I thought it was a holiday. I really did think it was a holiday. And we went to Finland in 2003. And I was part of a Agape feast where myself and this other guy was baptized and ordained with the gift of prophecy. through anointing with oil, and I had a proper baptism, you know, with water. That was later that year in November. And my active career as a Christian was a couple of years on the front line, dealing with the groups, mixing more with the people. But then when that project was completely shelved and the place was shut down, I sort of retreated into myself, and I found myself poorly. I've had 13 tumours removed in 9 years. And I'm in the longest period of what you would call term remission, out of this whole situation. All this time, all I've done has been researching. And I think I've come up with some really good arguments. I've tried to back everything up with scripture. And hopefully over the next few podcasts, I'll be able to reveal my findings.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic and fascinating. And it's just been like amazing to connect with you. I am interested in the next podcast, or if you want to talk a little bit now about your background, your childhood, any victimhood before you came to waking up. You know, you talk about, you know, many people woke up during the lockdown, and there are people like Kathy O'Brien and
Yeah.
Bryce Taylor and James Casbolt and Max Spears. You know, there are some that have been wakening or trying to waken, Sandy Berg and different people being trying to wake for decades, and yet, but there has been a huge backfiring where everybody got locked down, and it kind of backfired because it gave people time to take a breath and say, what is going on, and what was my background? So if you feel comfortable to share a little bit of your personal story, I want to put that on record, because I want to give credence to the research you've done, which we'll cover in part 2. So just tell us a little bit about your personal story.
My family was subjected to a generational curse, which was revealed to me during a live buster session with a member of church that I was going with at the time. And it was revealed to me that 300 years ago, a curse put a witch on our family, which actually cursed our family with paedophilia and basically cursing us and not allow us to have children. And I've looked back over my generations and found that every so many generations, they're barren. They can't produce children. And this is where they adopt in. My background comes in MK Ultra. I was part of a super soldier program when I was a kid. And I was trained until my programming broke when I was 15, and I snapped out of it and didn't have any recollected memories until I was probably in my 30s. That's when
Okay, let me slow you
started to
down there.
realize that.
Let me, yeah, no, you're doing brilliant. So just recount for me the first 15 years geographically, and like
Yeah,
where
living in Lincolnshire. Probably been you know, a lot of the stuff that I've remembered was being taken out, taken to rooms, and then blacking out. But I remember
taken
with the
out from school or taken out from home, or were there any
it
military?
must have been
Was there
from
any
home.
military?
I I
Was there
I
any
was a bit of a
military?
roamer as a
Just hold on.
child. I
Okay,
I
slow
was
down, slow down.
I
Wait a
was all
minute.
over the place. I
Okay,
was never.
slow down. Sue, sorry. Just, I need to just capture this right. Were there any military connections? Were you taken out
Yes.
from school, or were you taken out from home? And tell me, you just mentioned Roma, which is really interesting to me because that's just come up in some DNA searches, is Roma
Yeah,
Gypsy. So
yeah.
track back on that and slow
I
down a
was
bit.
adopted as a
Okay, right.
child.
Right now, that is important. I just have to slow you down because for the listeners, these are all clues. So who was the adoption agency? Was it Catholic? Was it
I don't know.
right?
All I know that what I do, I can only tell you what I do know, which was a woman was used as an oven. I was a turkey baster child. My records are sealed, so I can't get access to nothing.
Wow,
My
wow.
father was military,
Okay,
and I remember being
now
drunk
that's important. I need to focus on that. First of all, which branch of the military?
in Germany during the war,
Wow.
probably with the Mengele connection.
Do you know what part of Germany?
No, it's never been told to me.
Research
I
around
don't know. The only
research.
thing I can pin down is it maybe was around Berlin, because I
Okay.
went to Berlin on a church expedition a few years after the Finland Agape feast, and my father was really interested to know that I was going to Berlin.
Okay. And I would recommend people research Rheindahlen as well.
Yeah,
Rheindahlen.
yeah. No matter
Rheindahlen.
what I did, I was a super child. So
But
I
I
was
want to
at,
slow you down because you're
yeah,
dropping such important information. People have got to have a chance to research this and digest it. So you were adopted. You come
yeah,
from a military family with ties to Germany. You don't know the adoption agency that
no,
provided you,
no.
right? What age were you adopted? Do you know that?
7 weeks
Yes.
that the actual legal paperwork went through, but
And have you
my
got
mum and dad
copies of the legal paperwork?
yes, I have.
And you don't know
My
if it
mum and
was,
dad got possession of me at 7 days old. My mum handed her over in the hospital and took her money and
and
went.
you don't know which hospital it was and who paid her the money.
Yeah, but to protect my family, I'd
You
rather
don't
not
want to
reveal
release
that
that. That's fine.
location.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I
okay.
can't reveal
But
the actual
that's huge.
locations.
That's huge. That's a
Yeah,
huge clue to trafficking, right? So I'm just going to slow you down every time it's too important to let you just because
yeah,
many researchers we know what you're talking about, but what who we're trying to reach is people that don't know that this
yeah.
stuff goes on. So carry
Hmm.
on, carry on.
The chosen field that I was pushed to excel in, being this super child, was horses. I was
Very common.
bought, and my dad bought and sold horses, and so there was horses coming through the yard all the time. I was expected to ride every single one of them, retrain where necessary, get them out to shows, get them winning, and then he'd sell them at the shows.
This is
And
your
then,
adoptive father because you were
yeah,
adopted. Did
yeah,
you ever find out who your biological parents were?
yeah, it's him.
What do you mean by
He's
him?
my real dad.
Oh, you mean
He told me when I was 33.
so the father that adopted you was actually your biological father
He's my biological father, yeah.
by a different mother. Oh my God.
Surrogate, surrogate with a turkey baster.
And is your mother still alive?
No, they're dead, both of them. The one that carried me and the one that raised me are both
Did
dead.
your mother ever know that well, she probably did. She probably
Yeah, they both
cooperated.
knew, and they both kept it from me. They even gave me the wrong name. So when I went searching for the right names on my original birth certificate, they'd give me the wrong name. They went to extreme lengths to
Right.
cover up
So
who I
so
really
they
am.
were they were yeah, this is like my parents, well, at least my father.
Yeah,
They were recruited into projects.
yeah,
They were complicit. It's a
yeah,
hard thing to accept, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
No,
I think
I know, I
originally
need to
it was
digest this a
about,
minute. Right, I need to digest this. So your
yeah,
father was your real father.
yeah, but raised me up until being 33 as his adopted child.
Yeah, but was your mother your real mother?
No, no,
Oh,
his wife was obviously his wife. They
oh.
engineered this whole thing because they couldn't have
So
children,
this is part of
allegedly.
this lines up with my sister that painting reminds me of. There was a program going on in a military hospital in Germany
Yeah,
where they would pay military personnel to make their wife pregnant and another pregnant at the same time, and then they would
yeah,
swap the babies, and then they would observe how much
yeah.
is nature, how much is nurture, and that
I
I
was
was
programmed from quite early on to have a suicide spell over me,
oh yeah,
because that came over me quite a few times over the years where I
oh
would feel
so
this
familiar,
unexplainable urge to kill myself.
yeah, yeah,
And I realise now that was because of my programming's broken. I'd say 99.9% of my programming is broke. And through that process of the program breaking, through counselling, obviously asking God to take it away, asking God to reveal the truth to me,
yeah.
it's all been broken down. So I now can identify what was real and what wasn't.
I still
And I
wrestle
can
with that.
identify what was covered up and what wasn't which
I
has been,
still wrestle
been
with
some
that, Sue.
process.
I still wrestle with suicide programming. I still am kind of espousing the new euthanasia, programming. Yeah, it's this programming. People don't
Yeah.
realize it's so deeply embedded. And
Well,
I,
he
and I,
wanted me to be a professional show jumper. That was his dream for me, and I had other plans. I wanted to see what the world was all about. I was curious about the world and about people because I'd been kept isolated for so long. I ran away from home when I was 15 because there'd been a quite a violent incident at home, and I just had enough. I'd had enough of the cruel treatment. I'd had enough of the beatings, and I just ran. And I set myself up in Leicester, and but that didn't go very well neither. So I ended up back in my area again. Um, and it was just I had to get away and see what the world was all about. And I had always been able to dance, and I'd always been able to sing. And I put the two together and created this character, which I went out, and it's served me well for 27 years. I went around the
wow,
local area, and I'm well known under that character name. And I
wow,
built a really good career out of it against what I was wanted for me. But I used my programming to help me get really good because the discipline I'd had as a child, when I went into that industry, when you've got to learn all the songs and you've got to learn how to present yourself and carry the equipment and know how to handle, the management and things. I was so well trained in that from a child. It was so easy. It was like the programming came out in me, and
yeah,
it drove me forward.
yeah, yeah,
It drove me to achieve. And I class myself as almost famous.
yeah,
I got up into the competitions, things like X Factor, got down to last 100 in Fame Academy, did all the usual Pop Idol, got through a few
yeah,
rounds in Pop Idol,
yeah.
but I never got that opportunity. That door never opened for me.
No,
And
because they
then,
keep us almost.
yeah,
There's a lovely series called I Am Second. They
yeah,
I don't know about you, but I've got programming where I almost make the big time and then I self-sabotage. It's like, and I thank God for it because I think if I had followed the paths they were
yeah.
laying out for me, I'd be dead. I just think I'd be dead.
Which I'm hoping we're going to touch on later in the series because I
Definitely.
want to let the viewers know the work I've done on these specific familiar spirits and
Okay.
how we can break them, how we can break strongholds, how to
Yeah.
help the listeners deal with spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, I've got a whole section that I've written on this.
No,
I'm
this is really
ready to
exciting,
share
and
it
I'm
with the
sorry.
listeners.
I'm not sorry. Like I think it was right. Um, we've been going a while, but I think it's all powerful. And the only thing I would advise you is because I was in a cult for 10 years. I didn't realize it was a cult. It was like a Scientology spin-off,
Yeah,
but parts of it were good. It was EST or the Forum or Landmark Institute, and parts
yeah,
of it were good, but parts
yeah,
of it were very nefarious. But one of the good parts was they said you have to be aware of your audience is listening. So if we blast people with
yeah,
too much truth all in one go,
yeah,
there's just cognitive dissonance. They're just gone. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know what they're talking about. They're crazy people. Let me just scroll on. So I
yeah,
want to tease this out slowly. I'm
right.
already mind blown by our first hour's conversation. It's like,
Yeah,
wow, wow, wow,
yeah.
wow. So we've got a lot to cover here.
It's like
Um,
I said in our chat yesterday. I think God has been waiting. He's been
yeah, it's
training
got
and
to be the right
schooling me,
time. Yeah.
ready, waiting to do this.
Okay. All right.
You know,
So just give me some, I think we've done enough for part one,
yeah,
and I want to do, as well as taking care of my own personal shit, but I want to do part two, part three, whatever it takes. Let's
yeah,
get this out there and get it
yeah,
out there so in a way that people can go, oh,
yeah,
instead of, because sometimes when we speak too much truth all in one go, um, people just clock out. They're just gone. They're just
yeah.
gone.
Have you turned off recording now? Have you?
No, we're still
I'm
recording.
still,
I just want
but
you
you'll,
to give me your, yeah, I want you to give me
yeah,
your last thoughts, and
and
then
because
we'll.
you're obviously going to edit all this, aren't you?
No, I don't do editing.
All
I only
right.
start. No, I did. Right. Let me just reassure you. I didn't start recording while we got to know each other and talked really
Yeah,
deep. Right. when I started recording, you haven't said a word wrong. You've done
Yeah.
brilliant. Right.
Right.
I don't do editing. So, but what I will do is I'll send you a copy of this before I publish it.
I'll just this little chat bit at the end. We could just like chop this
No,
bit off. Couldn't we? This
yeah,
little
no,
bit
I'll
we're
stop the
talking now.
recording in a minute. But
Yeah.
all I'm
Yeah.
saying to you is I'll send you a copy,
Yeah.
and you'll know that you did brilliant. You've done
Oh,
brilliant.
great.
And it's
I was trying to
literally,
hold my nerves.
yeah, no, you've done brilliant. And it's literally don't let's gallop,
Yeah.
because so we need to slow it down sometimes,
Yeah. I
because
understand.
I'm not interested in preaching to the choir. I'm
Yeah.
interested in reaching people that didn't realize this stuff.
Yeah, I'm only looking back now and going out, dragging all my books out and dusting them all off last night, which I did to read through the stuff that I've written over the years. And there's one, two, three, four, five full journals full of this stuff that I've written.
Yeah, I've probably got
But
the same.
it
I've got
just got
the same.
while I was laid up because the big tumor, it was a full cut across my stomach. So that put me out for a year and a half. I couldn't even walk. So all I could do was watch telly and read the Bible and read books, and because I couldn't move. I was stuck in my house for a year and a half before I had mobility because that one, when they took me, when they gave me hysterectomy, when they took me womb,
Which is a
because
ritual,
it was
which,
so
by the
big,
way, is a ritual.
yeah, and
That's
it had
disembowelment,
stuck out, it had grown through because what triggered the diagnosis was I'd had a Mirena coil put in, and oh, how can I say this? This is you can chop this bit if you want, but I'll just have to say it as it
I
is.
don't do editing. Trigger warning, people. Go ahead.
I had sex with a guy who was quite large and he pushed the thing through my womb, which caused an infection, which got me into the hospital, which got the diagnosis that I had a massive tumor in my womb and they were going to take this womb out straight away.
Which is
But
what
it
has
had
just
also
happened.
pushed its way backwards and it had started growing through the wall lining of my bladder and my bowel. So they had to take half my bladder and bowel away at the
You've been
same time.
disemboweled. You've been disemboweled. That's
Yeah,
horrendous.
so I was literally that close to getting a bag, the bag on the side,
Yeah, the stoma. Yeah.
because once you can only have so much bowel
Yeah,
removed
no,
before.
I nearly got that. I nearly got that. I just,
Yeah,
I've
so I
got
was
14
very
weeks.
lucky in that respect in the first operation, that major operation.
Oh,
They took me cervix, but they didn't stitch me up right, and that ended up in a disaster. But we'll save that one for next time.
oh. All right. Look, people, we're going to leave it there. Please follow this series. It might be 2 or 3 interviews, and we're going to go deep, but we needed to just get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah,
And it's shocking to me in a good way how much we know in common and how many areas of research we've both covered. So look, I'm delighted. I'm going to let you go, and we'll set up a date for next week.
absolutely.
All right,
Looking forward.
sweetheart. Thank you for trusting me.
Thank you, and same with me. I needed somebody I knew I could trust, and I've been following you from the beginning.
Yeah,
And like I said, when everybody was dropping like flies and being exposed for who they really were or who they were really working for, you stood out there, stood strong. There's about a handful of you left now. So I felt like you was the right person to come and bring my story to.
that's great. I'm honored. All right, talk to you next week, darling. Love you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I
Bye.
say love you so easily. That's a bit
I
American.
do too. We say to our kids, I say to my kids, love you, bye. That's
I
how
love
we
you.
say goodbye. Love you,
Bye.
bye.
I said to my son, my younger son once, I said, how are you feeling? And he was about 19 at the time. He said, what kind of a fucking question is that, mum? All right,
Oh.
take care. God bless.
Right, so are we? Is that it?
Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
off,
no,
off air
yeah,
now?
that's it for
Right,
today.
okay.
But we'll do part 2, part 3. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
huge. This is huge.
I've
Well
just got to be
done.
careful what I say
I
about
know.
dropping locations and dropping too much identity because of
But
protecting me.
also pray, because
Yeah,
I've had assassination attempts on my life and they
yeah.
failed. Like,
Well,
I
my own
know.
father did, and that didn't work.
Well, I've paid a big price. Like I said, you know,
Yeah,
I paid a big price in terms of family relations,
yeah.
but we're still here. We're still here. We're still here.
My family do not watch your stuff. They're not interested in what they term as the conspiracy people.
Yeah, yeah,
They class me as a conspiracy theorist.
I know.
They're only just now learning about the chemtrailing because I've literally stood there and held their heads to the sky and said, like,
I know,
look,
it's like, I know, and it's this
look
is why
at the
so many
sky,
people
watch it
have.
dissipate. You know, watch it rain in an hour, and then when it rains in an hour, they go, "Oh yeah."
Wow. And
That's where my kids are right now with it all. They've had it rammed down the throat, you see, for years. Remember, I've been prepping them for the apocalypse since this all began.
and
They
then
are
we can
sick of
overdo
it.
it. We can overdo it. I did. My children thought the rapture was coming years ago, and two of my three kids got vaccinated, but one of them ended up in hospital. Like he had a grand mal seizure after his second vaccine, and he ended up in hospital for 4 days. And he hadn't even told me. He kept it secret from me that he'd got jabbed. And
Yeah,
then I'm like, son, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I was trying to warn you, you know.
yeah. There's I
Had
need to
to learn
send
my
you that
lesson.
TikTok video. I've saved a TikTok video
I
where
don't
some
watch TikTok. I think it's a Chinese.
ah well,
I think
you know
it's
on the shorts,
Chinese.
it's little shorts on
No, but
YouTube,
I
but I
can't. I don't
saved
watch
it.
TikTok because I have to download it, and then it
Yeah,
downloads every app in the
yeah.
house. And
Well, I watched the shorts on YouTube. I saved this particular one because it told you of something you could take to help flush that, the toxins of the vaccine through your
yeah,
system.
well, that's up to them. Like I warned my children. I begged them not to take it. Two of
Yeah.
them out of the three took it. Now,
1 out of 2 took it. My son took it. My daughter
yeah.
didn't.
And
My
my
daughter
son that
didn't.
got
To be honest,
hospitalized after it, he is a believer, and he did pray and he repented and he asked God to forgive him for not
yeah,
listening and for going ahead and taking it. And him and his girlfriend had a healthy baby. You know,
yeah,
they both were jabbed, and there was like 50 to 70% miscarriage rates going
mm.
on at that time, but they carried a baby to term. That's my youngest granddaughter.
I think there possibly was placebo groups. Like I know
Yeah.
for a fact that I've been
No, but
looking
he
for.
wasn't
You know, don't they? They've
placebo.
been
He
looking for
wasn't
certain
placebo.
DNA.
He wasn't placebo. He had a grand
Mm.
mal seizure. He had a
Yeah,
it was I found him in the middle of the night having a massive seizure. It freaked me absolutely out because I
yeah,
didn't even know he'd got jabbed. So
no,
to me, it's just like, oh my God, my son is having an epileptic seizure, and
yeah.
I've got no idea why. But anyway, look, let's wind
So
it up for today. We've done good, and we'll do
yeah.
part two next week.
Do you want me to drop the little cherry about Dave for you? I'll leave you with this one. So
No,
he
but
was
no,
going.
no, no, wait. I'm still recording, so I don't want
Oh,
you to say anything you don't want to say.
okay.
Send me that in messages.
Oh, it's too long to type. Well, I'll tell you at
Right.
the
All
beginning
right.
of the next
Tell me the
call.
next time when we connect next time. We'll do it off camera, like the way
Yeah,
we did today. We spoke for a while before we started recording.
yeah, yeah. Let's do it like that
Nothing
because
would
obviously,
surprise me. Oh no, now you've got me going right. Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna end.
get me off camera and then I'll tell you.
But the thing is, when I end the meeting, it ends.
Just
I,
ring me over Messenger.
all right.